Shannon Sharp did an interview recently with comedian Ryan Davis. And in that interview, they were talking about daughters who become transactional with their fathers. And that's what I want to talk with you all about today. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling women and men, for many years now. And, I've counseled a lot of women. And over the years, what I've noticed is that women, adult daughters, become very transactional with their fathers due to a number of reasons. And this can start from very early on. It's a way to kind of maintain the relationship with their fathers and get their needs met. So one of the first reasons that I know of that daughters become transactional with their fathers, meaning that they go to their father for money or assistance with resources and things like that, and they don't really have a connection for much else outside of that. I know my hair looks big. It almost looks like a wig, doesn't it? I sweated a lot yesterday, and that's just a little side note. Um, but anyhow, they go to their fathers for money because they've learned very early on that their fathers are not emotionally available, meaning that their fathers are not available for any type of emotional connection. Their fathers may be physically absent. Their fathers may be addicted to substances, have another family, and be living somewhere else. Or their father just may not talk to them. And another thing that I've noticed about daughters, that become very transactional with their fathers, their fathers may be, when we're talking about Black fathers, their fathers may be colorist or not like Black women or Black girls. And so they may have this sort of condescending tone about Black girls and Black women in general. And so these girls or these women may be intimidated by their father because their father doesn't speak very kindly to them, or their father is very harsh. So it's like, okay, I'm going to limit the contact except for when I really need something, because he's good for giving out money, but he's not good for much else. Number three, if you have a father that chases validation from other people, so you may have a father that tends to just sort of give out money. I'm sure you all have heard the saying, or at least seen it or experienced it, where people talk about their father being nicer to strangers than they are to them. And so if your father is one of those that's nice to strangers, you may be apt to, just sort of reach out to him for resources, particularly if strangers are coming to him. So what you may do is sort of tailgate behind someone else who is getting their needs met. Like if someone else, a stranger or a worker, or, just somebody that's not really closely affiliated with them, or getting some sort of assistance, what you may do is tailgate, piggyback behind them, and sort of have your hand out too. That sort of thing. I don't know what number I'm on now, but daughters who are physically attractive and they know that their father may be a womanizer or really appreciates the beauty of a woman's appearance. And so they may play into that a little bit more, just sort of play into that aspect of their father and use it to benefit them. He thinks I'm pretty, he is proud to show me off. Very similar to, a romantic relationship. So if he thinks I'm pretty and he wants me to maintain what I look like, then he's going to have to help me pay for that. Okay. And then the next reason that daughters may be, you know, inclined to monetarily tap into their dads, it's because they were told to do so by their mothers or the other parent at a very early age. And so, what can tend to happen is mothers can be sort of arbitrary, they could be mean, they could just be tapped out and tired. And so, especially if they're a single mom and they're not together anymore with their father, those mothers may be apt to say, go get the money from your daddy. I don't have it. Call your daddy. Tell him you need money for X, Y, and Z. Mothers can also use this and be manipulative with their children as well. And I've talked about the research study that I did with women who were psychologically abused by their parents while growing up many years ago as my dissertation. And one of the things that these women talked about, some of these women talked about how their mothers were, basically scammers. And so their mothers would use them to procure money and resources for themselves. So they would tell their children, go to the church and tell them this, go to your daddy and tell him this, play up the fact that you're really down and out destitute so that they can give you some money and then you can give it over to me. And so you may have your parent that's manipulating you to get that money. And then that's just a behavior that carries on into adulthood where you're just like, well, I'm just going to go to him. He's always been generous to me. And, I'm just going to continue this pattern of behavior. And the next reason would be, their fathers don't want them to want for anything. And so you have those daughters that are extremely spoiled, but they can also be very entitled and they expect that, hey, dad's going to pay for it. My daddy's going to always take care of me. So I'll just go to him and get the money that I need for everything. He pretty much has an open wallet policy for me. And so that's what I'm going to do. Lastly, one of the things that I'll mention in terms of transaction with daughters is they know their father isn't going to be of much use in any other way to them. I can't, and this sort of circles back to number one, but it's like, he's not good for anything else. He may be addicted to substances. He may have been in and out of prison. He may have, he just may be, this person that money is all that you will ever get. And so you've learned that from him. You may never talk to him. The relationship may be sort of sketch, but that's pretty much all you're ever going to be able to get from him is the money and resources. One other thing that I will mention is daughters who have been abused. I don't know why I didn't mention this first, but sometimes these things have a way of catching up. But daughters who have been abused by their fathers, but physically, sexually, or emotionally, any other way, they may feel like they are due to have something for their troubles for all these years. I didn't go to the police. I didn't do anything. I was a victim. So now you owe me. And so you need to pay up. You need to pony up the money, because that's my shut up money. And so now I am due what is owed to me. So hand it over because that is the tax that you must pay me for all of my pain and suffering of putting up with you. So let me know if you are aware of any of these things, if you've heard or seen any of these things, and let me know if any of these things have impacted your relationship with your father. One other thing I'll mention is a lot of women can take their social cues from their mother, so mothers and fathers teach us a lot about how to interact or have relationships with men and women. So the other thing I'll mention here is if you see your father being transactional with women, like that's just who he is, like he buys women, from sex workers to people who care for his home to your mother, or if your mother has a transactional relationship with men, those things can also be such a strong and powerful influence as well. If you like what you hear, definitely check out my podcast. A Date with Darkness podcast has been on for many years now. It's across all platforms, including YouTube, but Apple Podcasts and all that. Also, that's linked in my bio. If you want to find out about new things that are coming up with me, be sure to sign up for my newsletter, which is also linked in my bio. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a nice weekend.